Hello everyone. I, Forum Patel from LG School of Law, extend my warm welcome in the third session of the intellectual property. Now, in previous two sessions, my friends, we discussed about the introduction of the intellectual property rights, different concepts which are covered under the intellectual property, also about the IP and economic development, and some of the history, which is very brief in its nature, of the intellectual property. Now, in today's session, we shall be starting with the intellectual property at the international perspective. It is very important to note that intellectual property concept is not only protected in our country, but this concept has given due recognition all over the world. Now, during the last century, my friends, before the existence of any international conventions in the field of the industrial property, it was difficult to obtain the protection for the industrial property rights in various countries of the world because of the diversification in their laws. Moreover, patent applications had to make roughly at the same time in all the country in order to avoid the publications in one country. This practical problems also they were faced by all the people, all the individuals all over the world. Now, during the second half of the last century, the development of a more internationally oriented law which gives the flow of the technology and which also gave the increase or increment in the international trade, it made the harmonization and of the intellectual property laws which was most urgent in this field. It is very interesting to know that when the government of the Empire of the Austria-Hungary invited all the countries to participate in an international exhibition of the inventions which was held in 1873 at Vienna, participation was way too less. It was because they were not willing to exhibit their own inventions at that exhibition because of course, least or no protection for their property at all. This incident, it led to two developments. Firstly, special Australian law securing temporary protection to all the foreigners participating in the exhibition for their inventions, trademarks and industrial designs. And secondly, the Congress of the Vienna for patent reforms was convened during the same year, 1873. It elaborated the number of the principles on which an effective and useful patent system should be based and urged governments to bring about an international understanding upon the patent protection as soon as possible. As a follow-up to this incident, an international congress on industrial property it was convened at Paris in 1878. Now, the main result was a decision that one of the governments should be asked to convene an international diplomatic conference with the task of determining the basis of the uniform legislation, of course in the field of the intellectual property. Following this, a final draft proposing an international union for the protection of the IP, it was prepared in France and it was sent by the government to a number of other countries together with an invention to be attended. It was an invitation to be attended in 1880. It was an international conference which was to be held in Paris. This conference adopted a draft convention which contains certain essential or substantive provisions that today are still the main features of the Paris Conventions. So, this is how the whole protection of the intellectual property concept at the international level started. So, there are so many provisions or there are so many conventions right now till today which are protecting one or the different kinds of the intellectual property at the international aspect or at the international level. So friends, let's get started with the understanding of all the conventions in very brief. I shall be putting down the link from which I have referred the conventions so that it becomes easier for you to read those conventions in detail for the further reference. The first one, my friends, is the IPR and under the IPR and international conventions is about the Paris Convention. Now, this convention applies to the industrial property in the widest sense, including patents, trademarks, intellectual designs, industrial designs, utility models, which are small scale patents, etc., service marks, trade names, geographical indications, and the repression of the unfair competition. The substantive provisions of this convention fall into three main categories. The first is the national treatment, second, right of the priority, and the third is about the common rule. The common rules are for the patent, marks, industrial designs, trade name, and unfair competitions. For further references, you may visit the website of the WIPO if you want to understand the Paris Convention in detail. Now the next important segment or rather agreement which plays a vital role in the protection of the intellectual property at international level is about the TRIPS agreement. We must have heard about the TRIPS way too often. The areas of the IP that are covered under this agreement, they are copyright and related right, of course. Trademarks including service marks, geographical indications including appellations of the origin, industrial designs, patents including the protection of the few varieties of plants, layout designs, integrated circuits, and undisclosed information including trade secrets and test data. The three main features of this agreement, they are the standard, enforcement, and dispute settlement. This agreement or rather these provisions gives the acknowledgement of the standard of the enforcement of the law and of course about the dispute settlement. In addition to this agreement, it provided certain basic principles such as the national and the most favored national treatment, some general rules to ensure that the procedural difficulties in acquiring or maintaining the IPRs, they do not nullify the substantive benefit that should flow from the agreement. The obligations will apply equally to all the member countries, but developing countries will have a longer period to face them inside. For the further information, you may visit the WTO website for the same. The next convention comes the Berne Convention. The Berne Convention deals with the protection of the works and the rights of their authors. It is based on three basic principles and contained a series of the provisions determining the minimum protection which is to be granted as well as specific provision which is available to the developing countries that wants to use those things. Now friends, if you're noticing that I have given a very brief introduction which will deal about what is covered under that convention, what are the main principles or what are the main pillars of that convention, and how it is important for the developing country or how the special provisions have been provided for that under that convention for the developing country. These are the very important aspect and the main headlines of these international conventions. Moving further, my friends, the next convention that we shall look into is about the Rome Convention. This convention secures the protection in performance for the performers, in phonograms for producers of phonograms, and in broadcast for broadcasting organizations. It is applicable to performers, producers, and broadcasting organizations. This convention is open to state party to the Berne Convention for the protection of the literary and artistic works in the year 1886 or to the Universal Copyright Convention. Instruments of ratification of accession must be deposited with the Secretary General of the United Nations. States may make reservations with regard to the application of certain provisions. This was all about the brief introduction of the Rome Convention. The next one is the WIPO Copyright Treaty, which is very well known as the WCT in the year 1996. This treaty is a special agreement under the Berne Convention that deals with the protection of the works and the rights of their authors in digital environment. Any contracting party must comply with the substantive provisions of the 1971 Paris Act of the Berne Convention for the protection of the literary and artistic works. Furthermore, this treaty mentions two subject matter to be protected by the copyright. The first one is computer programs, whatever the mode or form of their expression may be, and second is compilation of the data or the other material which is called the database in any of the forms, by which reason of the selection of the arrangement of their content. It constitutes the whole intellectual creations which is protected under WCT. Now whereas the data does not constitute such a creation, it is outside the scope of this treaty. For further reference and detailed study, my friends, you should visit the website of the WIPO. The next treaty at the international level, my friends, is, as you can see on the screen now, is about the WIPO Performance and Phonograms Treaty, WPPT, in 1996. Now this treaty deals with the rights of the two kinds of the beneficiaries, particularly in the digital environment. First, performances, and second, producers. Now, the rights, they are addressed in the same instrument because most of the rights which are granted by the treaty to perform but to performers are the rights connected to their fixed purely oral performances. As far as the performers are concerned, the treaty, it grants performer economic right in their performances for the fixed phonograms. This protected rights under this treaty is about the right of the reproduction, the right of the distribution, and the right to rental, along with the right of the the right of making available also. The next treaty which is available to everybody on the international aspect is about the Patent Cooperation Treaty. Of course, the PCT in 1970, which was created. This makes it possible to seek patent protection for an invention simultaneously in each of the large number of the countries by filing the international patent application. Such an application may be filed by anyone who is national or resident of the PCT contracting states. It may generally be filed with the National Patent Office of the contracting state of which the applicant is national or is residing there. This treaty regulates in detail the formal requirements which is international application, and one must comply with the same thing. The next and the last one, my friends, is about the Madrid Agreement concerning the international registration of the marks and the protocol relating to the same. The Madrid system for the international registration of the marks is governed by two treaties, the Madrid Agreement and the Protocol, which is of course very well known. The Madrid Agreement concluded in 1891 and revised at Brussels, Washington, Hague, London and Stockholm and amended in 1979. The protocol relating to that agreement concluded in 1989, which aims to make the Madrid system more flexible and compatible with the domestic legislations. State and organizations parties to the Madrid systems are collectively referred as the contracting parties. The system makes it possible to protect a mark in a large number of the countries by obtaining an international registration that has effect in each of the designated contracting parties. For further reference, you may visit the WIPO website. Friends, if you have noticed, at the international level also, all the agreements that are available for individual to get the protection of their intellectual property, they have covered each and every aspect. There is one specific treaty or agreement that we can call for the trademark, one which is very specifically for the trademarks, one which is there for the patents and geographical indications, semiconductors. Nothing has been left at the international aspect. That means, my friends, that these are the treaties which governs the intellectual property at the international levels. When it comes to the protection or rather governance of intellectual property in our country, there are certain laws which are there relevant. Let's have a look at the list of the laws. As you can see on the screen, there are certain laws governing intellectual property in our country as well. It includes the Copyright Act, the Patent Act, the Intellectual Property Appellate Board rules, the Trademark Act, the Intellectual Property Appellate Board rules for the trademarks, the Geographical Indications of the Goods Registration and Protection Act, the Designs Act, the Semiconductor Integrated Circuits Layout Design Act, the Protection of the Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act, the Biological Diversity Act, Intellectual Property Rights, Amended Imported Goods Rules in the 2007. So friends, these are the main governing laws which are there in our country for the protection of the intellectual property. So I hope till these 3 sessions you may have an extensive idea that intellectual property is a property which is of one's own inventions, creations, which is very important. Kind of the intangible one. That means you have the property, you have all the rights of that property, and still you get the protection of those rights at the national level and also at the international level. Different kinds of the intellectual property including copyright, patent, trademarks, semiconductors, plant varieties, biological diversity, or even the confidential informations. So this was all about the basic introduction and concept on the intellectual property rights. Friends, in the next session, we shall be looking into the detailed aspect of the copyright laws. Till then, stay tuned and keep learning. You may contact me on the given ID for any query. Friends, let's keep in mind one thing. that the development of the intellectual property in our country has given a boost to the economy, also to the confidence and also to the creativity. All these three aspects, they are the pillars of one individual's existence. Every individual is very unique in its own nature. Having the creations of that uniqueness is very important. Our law is no other, or is no other, acting as no other tool to bring out the same creativity from every individual. It also protects the same creativity, and it also encourages us all to move ahead with the further creations, my friends. In current times also, the government and the laws are being made which are there to protect and rather to give boost to the new inventions. And so it becomes very important to understand the concept of the intellectual property in today's time. In these three sessions, I have tried to cover the very basic concept of the intellectual property, of course, different kinds of the property and its international aspect. I hope these points are very clear to you by now. For further reference, I have given the links for you to read at the international level and about the intellectual property also. So friends, till the next session, you guys shall keep learning and stay tuned. Thank you so much.